Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Christine and I'm so pleased to present you with the Money Planets forecast for November 2023, and this is for the planet Mars. I've never done anything with astrology and certainly nothing on this scale publicly, so I'm super excited to bring this information to you. You can watch my previous video on cosmic cash flow to learn how it all works. There's some links in the description box about how it works if you prefer to read it on my blog. So this is a little bit different than a regular YouTube astrological reading. It's not sign by sign. It's planet by planet, and you need to know what your money planets are. So in this particular video, if Mars is a money planet, this forecast applies to you. If you don't know your money planets, please read the blog post on how to DIY your money planets yourself. I also offer an inexpensive service to do this for you, and those links are in the description box. So this is just based on money planets, and it's based on transits, which is the current movement of the planets. There may be more personalized aspects to your natal planets, so consider ordering my service for a reading or get a couple of coaching sessions and I'll teach you how to do this yourself. Now, Mars is in Scorpio for most of the month. Mars is comfortable in Scorpio. Mars is a co-ruler of Scorpio. Mars will move into Sagittarius on November 24th, and Mars does well in Sagittarius too. Mars is masculine, the god of war. It can be impulsive, frustrating. In fact, I'm an Aries rising and Mars is the ruler of Aries, and there's a lot of frustration that gets internalized when things don't go our way. But Mars is comfortable in both of these places, so I'm not too concerned about that stuff. But let's talk about what happens in November. Mars makes the following aspects this month. On November 11th, we have Mars opposite Uranus, and this is caution warranted. Mars will be opposite Uranus in Taurus. Now, Mars-Uranus is volatile energy generally. Car accidents, cutting yourself with knives or scissors, and head injuries are some examples. And I can tell you that many times I have cut myself with a kitchen knife or hit my head doing something where I wasn't quite paying attention or I was in a hurry and injured myself. And when I went back to look at my own astrology, sure enough, there was Mars-Uranus. Now, I'm also having a Uranus square Mars right now. My natal Mars is in Leo, and Uranus is, of course, in Taurus. So it's not quite exact, but it's in range. And so I notice a lot of things falling over, tipping over, just things randomly leaping off shelves and near missing my head, and all kinds of weird little frustrating things where, like let's say you stand the broom up in the corner and then it falls over. I mean, it's really aggravating and it's disruptive. And, disruption is one of the characteristics of Uranus. But because Uranus is in Taurus, Taurus is an earth sign and the earth energy pulls back on the Uranian volatility. Mars can be impulsive, and mixed with Uranian volatility, it can be violent energy. But here, Taurus Earth dulls some of the explosiveness. It reminds me of a tsunami that builds from an earthquake under the ocean. It might take a little bit to reach the surface. Uranus is not really slow, but that Earth dulls a lot of the explosiveness. So if Mars and Uranus are both money planets for you, this is a good day for an increase or an event that will trigger an increase. But watch for arguments, frustrations, impulsiveness, explosions, unexpected events related to this day. Mars moves 1 degree every 2 days, so this energy will be around for a week to 10 days. Now, I also want to mention something, that just because the aspects are difficult does not mean the money is not coming. It just means that there's potential for some event to be triggered on these days. And so you'll have to watch your own experience and see and look at what unfolds and see if there's a way for you to take advantage of it. Sometimes it happens later when the chaos dies down. Now, on November 17th, we have Mars trine Neptune, guided towards action. So if Mars and Neptune are both money planets for you, this is a good day for money. Mars is action. We have the flowing trine aspect to Neptune, which talks about higher purpose, guidance, spiritual angles to things, positive, feel-good things for your action steps. Woohoo! November 21st, Mars sextile Pluto, action with power. So if Mars and Pluto are money planets, this is a great day for money. The sextile is a harmonious aspect. Mars is action and Pluto is the power to succeed. Another woohoo. So Mars, I just want to point out here too that Mars and Pluto are co-rulers of Scorpio. So if you have your 8th house in Scorpio, the cusp of your 8th house is in Scorpio, Mars and Pluto are your money planets. That's most likely if you're an Aries rising. If you're an Aries rising, there's a good chance that two of your money planets are Mars and Pluto. But Mars is less noticeable because it moves much slower, and it usually the events get triggered by another aspect. Excuse me, another planet that is transiting faster will aspect Pluto. So November 25th, Mars square Saturn, held back and frustrated. So Mars will square Saturn in Pisces right after entering Sadge. And Saturn will be direct by then, so Saturn will be a little more rigid because boundaries get reestablished when Saturn goes direct. Things sort of start to get straightened out, and the pieces are sort of locked onto the puzzle at that time. The game board, there's no course correcting once Saturn goes direct. So if both Mars and Saturn are money planets for you, it's still a good alignment from a money perspective, but expect frustrating delays. So I just want to share with you that Mars and Saturn are two of my money planets, and my experience with Saturn and any other aspects from a money planet that are hard aspects like squares and oppositions is that there's usually a 2-week delay and an adjustment required of me before the money and the stability comes through. But it also means usually that you can't disengage from the situation, and there's a lot of action required. Mars is action, Saturn is commitment, and so you might feel like you're stuck in this situation, and there's probably going to be a lesson involved in order to receive the abundance. Now, the abundance might not be money. It might be, somebody gives you a gift card, or one time I think I found someone else's, somebody dropped their debit card in the parking lot. I mean, it was there, but I didn't have access to it. So not all of these things are going to register piles of money, but you will learn more about how it all works as you observe your own experience. Since Mars moves 1 degree every 2 days, expect this situation to take at least a week to resolve. Saturn moves much slower, so Mars is the one that's going to have to move off of that degree for the square and the adjustment to finally be accepted and in order to move on. So forewarned is forearmed. This doesn't mean the money's coming. I know it's odd, but save yourself some frustration. I just finished a Saturn opposite Mars transit last year, and what worked was to just keep taking action and deal with my frustration through exercise or meditation or some other outlet. Don't give up. Saturn usually delays, but eventually you work through it. Sometimes it's a grind, and it takes longer than you think it should. Some other thing I want to point out is that consider whether you're Saturn or Mars in the situation. So depending on where you are in your own personal evolutionary ascension process, you may be the younger person in the situation holding the more mature viewpoint. Saturn has mature boundaries. Mars is young and impulsive in my experience. Often I find myself in the Saturnine role of enforcing boundaries, creating structures, standing up for myself, and that's even against people older than I am, people that you think should know better. So this might not be about holding you back. It might be about the universe working through you to help someone else mature through respecting boundaries or traditions. And also, when you pass Saturn's test, there's usually a gift. And these aren't the shiny kind under the Christmas tree. I'm talking about situations that finally breaks through and works out in your favor after a long grind or a long period of hard work and discipline, or something important comes to fruition. It might be something like you get to keep your job. They're not pretty or flashy gifts, but Saturn is not flashy or pretty. So that's what I have for Mars this month. I invite you to check out Cosmic Cash Flow to learn about your own prosperity cycles. I hope this information serves you on your journey. I present this with love. I'm Christine. Thanks for liking, watching, sharing, subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.